Welcome back. Here's where you left off. Spoilers ahead for chapters 12 through 27 of The Shackleton Signal by Joshua Calvert. Leonard, we have to take a moment for the red shirts. We have to stand there and take a moment, tip our hats, and say they were gone before their time, right?
Yeah, someone needs to be the sacrifice lamb in this one, so they did.
It was like, I felt bad. Like, they didn't even make it onto the starship. I mean, come on, writer. At least let them blow up on the pad or blow up halfway to space, or let them. They didn't even make it on the ship, man. It's a hose that's come loose or something. Like what? They didn't have enough money for a screw. I don't.
It's a washer. It's a washer. It's like one of those washers you can get in Canadian Tire. It's one of those cheap ones, but they still work if they're cheap one. But it's like that couple got caught in Coldplay's concert, you know? They're screwed before it happened.
So, just
okay. So you gotta put that in. Sorry.
So we're talking about before the show. Okay. So let's get back to the book, not Coldplay. So we're talking about red shirts here and that they're gone. The fact that they're gone wasn't actually the part that really, because I was like, how are they going to get rid of them? It was like, I was just very soon into the.
I'm sorry, really? You figured out how to get rid of them?
No. Is that what I said? I was figuring how they would. Yeah, how they would. Okay, not me. How they would. I figured they would let them launch and something catastrophic would happen. And in a way, it happened so quickly. I'm like, I felt bad for them. It's like you always feel bad for the red shirts, but I kind of really did feel bad for them because I'm like, they didn't even make it onto the ship. But like, let them be strapped in. I mean, if we talk historically, with like Apollo 1 when they were in the spacecraft, it was tragic. It was awful. Maybe that's why he didn't write it that way because of like historical context. But I don't know, man. A hose just waving around in the air just seemed really, really lazy to me. I don't know. What did you think about it?
I agree. It is kind of lazy because it's kind of funny now because I can't remember the name of the character, but they did notice it on TV. There's something wrong with that hose. Next scene, boom, done. Nobody like, okay, let's move on to the next scene, right? So I agree with you. It was very, very fast and how it was told, right? It felt like it was just a scent. It was just literally, it blew up. Okay, next scene, right? So there's no like reflection, and there is some type of reflection. It's like, oh my gosh, what just happened? We just saw a thing just blew up. This penis-like ship rocket blew up in front of their face, and next thing you know, they're like, oh crap, what's next, right? So there's some type of uncertainty throughout a big chunk of this section. Right, and when it happened, I'm kind of like, I was kind of shocked that it was a very fast thing, like you said, but the aftermath itself was kind of interesting. It's kind of like how they reacted and all that good stuff. And there's one point, I'm not joking at all. There's one point I forgot what was the original mission. I'm not sure if you felt the same way because. There's one point that I forgot what the original mission is because they were concentrating regarding Space Force, aka Starfleet, trying to get this thing up and running.
Well,
right?
I mean, I was going to talk about this a little later on in the show, but there is this subplot with the Major, and she's just Rebecca, and she's just running around, sort of representing the general, and. This subplot is fine to me. I don't have a problem with it. The issue is that it doesn't really connect in with everything else that's going on in the book right now, right?
I have a theory.
And when I'm looking at it,
I have a theory.
Well, I mean, I have theories too. Okay, let's hear your theory first.
No, keep going. I'll tell you my theory.
I want to hear your theory. I want to hear your theory about this. I really do, because you and I are usually opposed to theories sometimes, and I want to hear if yours is similar.
Because you know I'm right.
Just go on.
Okay. Here's the thing. Here's my theory. Rebecca, I have this feeling she's gonna. In my opinion, she's. Right now, for me, she's the main character, not what's his nuts. So it's for me, her storyline is actually a lot more interesting than the other, and then
Why is her more interested in Charles because of the allure of the spy kind of
it's
game
not a
going
spy
on?
thing at all. It's just how she was written. I felt like her character has more presence, has more
I'm
aura
actually going to completely
it.
agree with you.
Right.
But the funny thing is about it is that it's as if they're writing two different storylines. They don't really connect.
You're right.
I mean,
yeah.
obviously they connect when she goes and grabs them and takes them off to SpaceX. Obviously they're connected there. But their storylines, even when she's introduced, doesn't make a lot of sense. She's going to check up on the other general guy. Like, they're going to check on the signal. Like, why did the general originally send her? Like, because he's worried. It feels like she's somebody ticking a box.
It sounds
in the beginning of the book.
It sounds like she's the scapegoat for something that's later on. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I felt like at the beginning. This is at the beginning. This is like the first part, right? But now it's completely the opposite. I felt like she's being she's there to investigate the sabotage. That's her job is right now in this book is to figure out the sabotage, right? And that where we are right now in the book, her storyline is more intriguing. That's what's actually happening in the moon. I'm hoping that's going to change because the whole story, the whole storyline is them in the moon for this mission, right? And my theory is that there is an underlining I don't want to say spy. I don't want to say some type of conspiracy, but there's an underlining mission that we haven't been told yet regarding this.
Well, like Charles or somebody else or somebody on the crew has been told to go do this versus knowing what the rest of the crew is doing. That would make a lot of sense to me. That's sort of but the thing is, I don't think Rebecca's in the loop.
No, she's not. But
so this is the question: is like she's like the person that they're just sending out there that they can put out in front to say, "Oh, she did it," even though they're pulling the strings from behind.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So really, we're not that far off on
No,
this,
but
really.
I have this feeling she's going to be a lot more. Her involvement will be a lot more pinnacle to the storyline as well. The other one I do want to flag, because I was reading this, I actually marked this. It's like I need to talk to you about this and see what you're thinking about this one too. There's actually a great part of the book that says that they actually have rifles designed for space. I'm like, cool, that's awesome. But I forgot to do the research on this one. Hopefully you did the research because I'm actually counting on you to do the research on this one. I know there was I know they have a treaty regarding the moon. Same thing for the Antarctica. Same thing in Antarctica. They can't colonize it, right?
There's no weapons supposed to be in space. There's no weapons supposed to be in space. Yeah.
The decision.
So it's.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me finish this. So they actually had a conversation throughout the book itself. That whole chapter itself, saying that why are we bringing this? We are theoretically breaking the rules here, and they said no, we're not breaking the rules. We're only breaking the rules if we took it out from the crate, or we're breaking the rules because we're delivering there. And next thing you say, well, if the Chinese brings it with them, then they're breaking the rules. Like, well, we don't know that. So there is a lot of contradiction between the rules itself, between the crew and the superiors. And at the same time, the commander is like, I kind of understand both sides, so I don't mind having it there just in case. That becomes a slippery slope, in my opinion, especially for the storyline itself, because at the end, chapter 27, I think, or 26 or 27, saying that when they landed in the moon, they took out two flags. One's for the Americans and one for the UN. And the UN, they said, well, having the UN flag there is like saying that, hey, this is not just for the Americans. This is for the whole humankind. I'm like, you dicks! You literally brought weapons on Mars, on the moon, and you're saying this? It's this massive contradiction. I think it's definitely designed that way in the storyline, and so I kind of like that. But at the same time, I'm like, WTF. What do you think about that? What do you think about the gun thing and having the contradiction? And I think it's chapter 27.
I think it's extremely plausible. And by that, I mean that I'm certain somewhere some person at DARPA has already gone and figured this out. In real life, has gone and figured this out. Has some prototype
phasers,
somewhere
man. They have
sitting there,
phasers.
somewhere sitting there. Whatever lasers that can burn through a spacesuit or whatever. In a way, I think that. The Russians have already done it in real life. They had a cannon up in space on, I think it was the first Mir or whatever it was, the very first space station they had or something like that. So they've already done that. Okay. So that's nothing new. So guns in space is not new. That's a thing. It's already been done. Now them going and saying, if you don't take it out of the crate, it's okay. It's like, it's like if you don't know, it's like if you don't know it's there and they don't know it's there, then really is it there?
It's a Schrodinger's effect, it's like it's the cat alive or dead inside the box.
That's the argument. It's like, wouldn't you rather have one than not? So I could see as you say, I can see the argument. Do I think it's the attitude of let's just be prepared? It's like, so what do you expect them to do? Go on a military mission? Like, I think Charles is the only military person on the crew. So
there's
the
two.
Other people,
there's two. The rest is the scientist. I think. I know the commander and the.
Oh, okay, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I just keep on thinking Charles is the main military guy because they keep on referencing it in the book. But anyway, so I mean, you got like military people. So what? They're all gonna go down into the crater looking for the thing where their M16s raised up and be like, "It's mine, it's mine, it's mine." Like it doesn't take a lot to do people.
Yeah.
In
but
space.
But here's the thing as well too. I'm not sure if you remember this in the part of the book, but when they did the course correction, right, and next thing they have to use more fuel. When they got to the other side of the moon, or the far side of the moon, getting ready to land, they kind of realized, like, oh crap, we don't have enough fuel. Right. Next thing
I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm so glad that pissed me off 7 ways to Sunday.
To be honest with you, I'm not mad about that because just for me, it's like saying that, hey, we ran out of fuel. So one of the characters actually said, well, are they going to send another rocket here? We're refueling. I'm like, cool. That makes a lot of sense, but it's going to take a while to bring it up there. But guess who's coming behind them? If the Chinese showed up with extra fuel,
like, we're gonna shoot them and we're gonna take the Chinese ships.
No.
What's gonna happen?
I have this feeling that's not gonna happen. I have this feeling they're gonna be like, so, can we get a ride from you guys? That's what's gonna happen. I'm telling you right now. If that happens, I'm gonna be like,
can we get a ride?
This is the most funniest thing I ever read, and it's the most dumbest thing at the same time too. But yeah, it's there's so many contradictions in this book. I kind of like it. At the same time, kind of frustrated.
I was kind of frustrated with. I mean, okay, so I was frustrated with the way the ship blew up. Not because it blew up, because I knew it was going to happen. Maybe in the manner at which it blew up. He tried to explain it by having the safety guy be off work and having some non-trained person apparently check things or something. Like, even if you have an understudy, they should have enough knowledge to be able to do the job. Agreed. If you're not there, Agreed. So that to me was okay. So that was a bit of a stretch. Second point, because what I'm saying is it's much more likely that during launch, something would come loose or fail, a seam fails, something like that's much more plausible than a stupid tube coming loose on the pad, right? But I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's unlikely. Oh, and there's a second thing I want to bring up too here, which is the whole, like, we're the military. We have a secret SpaceX rocket ready to launch, ready for you guys to go. Okay, here's the thing. There are entire people on the internet, their entire career is watching every bolt that moves in and out of that place. They would know so quickly if there's another SpaceX rocket ready to launch, fueled and ready to go. It would be all over the internet. They'd never be able to hide that. And maybe they would take the rocket away and put it up at an Air Force. The thing is higher than the Empire State Building. It's not like you could like put a blanket over it or something.
It's not as high as the Empire State Buildings, but it's big enough.
Whatever. I mean, like it's a huge rocket. I mean, even if they did take it away secretly, people are like, where did number 39 go? Like, they have it marked out on spreadsheets, for God's sake. They know where every single one is. So I tend to think that, I mean, to be fair to the writer, you can't really do much about that. I would have enjoyed if he written it into the book to trick those guys. That would have been fun to me. You know what I mean? That would have been nice. But when we're talking about the fuel thing and the moon, like, you have backups. You have emergency fuel. You have all, like, you plan for those things. You don't be like, now we have to use our fuel that we're going to use to go home. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You don't plan for it. Like,
yeah, I agree with you. Here's the other thing in the book that kind of like annoyed me. I know we're kind of nitpicking this one because we have to, because we can. The one thing that's kind of interesting that they actually said in the book as well too, saying that they said that we copied everything exactly what's happening here just in case for our backup purposes or whatever. Cool, that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense for if the first mission, this mission is being controlled by the military. Of course, you're gonna have a backup, right? Because if this one failed, they have to have a contingency plan. So that makes a lot of sense. I have no issues with that. The biggest thing that I got really annoyed with is, like, you know that you're going to space. You have, let's just presume that they're getting ready for this mission, but the military is doing the same thing. Like, Starfleet's doing the same thing, and sorry, I have no choice to say it because it's actually kind of funny. They're getting ready. It's almost a mirror image, right? But they should be smart enough to say, "Hey, we're going up to space with X amount of fuel, with X amount of cargo, X amount of everything." Right? We calculate based on this, right? We're talking about if you're using SpaceX, as in this case, in this book, going to Mars. That was the original plan, but they're reallocating to go to the moon. Do you think they already calculated with the solar reflection or whatever that slows down the ship or push the ship in sideways? It's kind of like, guys, you guys are planning to go further than the moon, and you forgot to calculate this part, and you forgot to simulate this. This is like engineering 101. I don't have an iron ring, but my God, it makes a lot of sense if you look at all the contingency here. Are they just employing dumbass people in SpaceX in this case, in this reality, or they just simply forgot to carry one?
It's funny because, like, you and I could sit here and talk about SpaceX the whole day. In fact, you took issue with how much Elon Musk has brought up in this
book. I was like
like,
planning to put that in my review at the end, but if you want to open that can of worms, we can.
Maybe we'll just hold off for a few more minutes on that. Let me just revisit the whole fuel thing. To say that they have no fuel to get back to Earth now, first off, would be like, as they do their correction course and all that, and they're like, hey, we don't have any fuel to get back to Earth now. You'd think that would have a stronger emotional reaction than, whatever. Like, it's like, dude,
my God, yes.
You might have a week's worth of oxygen, maybe, and it's not like they have rockets just sitting around. By the way, one just blew up your buddies. You think like SpaceX just has a crap load of them just hanging around, ready to go? That's going to be refueling you on the moon, like.
You didn't know that? It's like a parts shelf. You know, if you go to the warehouse, they have the rockets, below the sandwich, rockets pop. You know, they have everything there.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that in real life we have, like, you know, SpaceX doing the moon lander, and I'm thinking, well, it's a great idea in theory, but they can't even keep one up together in orbit. It breaks up all the time, or the engines fail. There's like fundamental issues with it. And don't get me wrong, I've been impressed with what SpaceX has done, but it seems to me the kinks haven't been worked out of the Starship yet.
There isn't. They're too busy trying to figure out why the U.S. government's failing. Sorry about that. No, why? Yeah, you know. To be honest, I agree with you. I agree with you 100% with your statement regarding SpaceX. I understand. I agree with you 100%. Privatizing space makes a lot of sense because we don't have finite amount of money. They actually said this in the chapter 26 or 27, 26. They said that one of the scenes that they said that why is it so harder for us to go to the moon compared to the Apollo missions? It's a very, very simple question, and the way that the author actually said it is, in my opinion, it's actually the best part of the book so far, saying that back then I can't remember the percentage of the U.S. Budget was allocated to the space race, right? And everything is version 1, right? And he even says that since then, technologically we went backwards, right? Because the human beings, population human beings are not evolving technology-wise faster than normal, than back in the 70s, right? That statement makes so much more sense. Like Derek, when I read that, I was like, I'm not going to argue with this because this actually makes a lot of sense. And I heard this several times already. People have been saying that back in the day, we were evolving a lot faster technology compared to now. What's the biggest leap in technology? Smartphone. Have we invented anything else since smartphone that's meaningful?
I suppose people would make the argument of AI, but putting your argument aside, I tend to agree. There has to be, as they say, the will to go and do it. And they went, in 61, they went from let's go to the moon to 8 years later, they were on the moon. And the technological leaps they needed to do to achieve that were astonishing. I mean, if you understand just the technical, there is more processing power in a calculator today than they had on the Apollo spacecraft. And they still went to the freaking moon with it. But yet, Boeing today can't put up a spacecraft that can return to Earth. It's like, so we look at this and I go, it's not about money. It's about skill. It's about will. It's about the drive to do it and to achieve and not garnish, billions and billions out of a government when what you're going to deliver to them is complete crap. Back in the Apollo days, the people that won the contracts to go to the moon knew that what they did would last, that the names they would create would last, and they have. The idea of quality or value over money was what they valued. Today, it's all money over value, right? And so there's that argument, even with the computer, people are like, computers double in power every 2 years or whatever. That's simply because it's not that they can't make something smaller and smaller and smaller. It's just they didn't do it for 20 years because it wasn't profitable.
Yeah,
it's like
that's right. Yeah. It's one. The other one I do want to add on to into your statement as well too, because the book itself, like the moon section, the chapter whatever to 27, it made few comments that made me kind of like, oh, this. It made some comments that I really, really liked because it makes a lot of sense. One, as you said, the technology, our technology today is not as evolved compared to back then because they were evolving a lot more rapidly compared to what we have now. Okay, that's a fact, right? The other one is about too that our next mission to the moon is the Artemis mission, right? And when that was getting sorted out, they were literally, in my opinion, starting from day one of the Apollo. Because the reason why I'm saying that is like, when the Apollo 17 ended and the shuttle's mission started, that's it. We literally stopped going to the moon. From that day on to now, doesn't matter which country or which space agency you'll be working that you support or which country that you have to start from day one, because what's the author literally says that all the companies who made parts for the Apollo are gone. They don't exist anymore. All the engineers has retired or passed away.
Well, right? The other thing is when you talk about that, it's like these are guys that would sit in a room, very smart guys who would sit in a room and work out orbital calculations with a pencil and a ruler. Where today they're like, if they don't have a program to do it, they can't do the math. I mean, these are people that did it very, very smart people that did it. And I mean, it's not that we don't have smart people today. It's that as I said, the drive, and I'll even say maybe the work ethic isn't as there anymore. Like, think about it. Think about the technology we have today. Think about the ability to be able to put something up in orbit. And even, okay, I'm going to segue here, buddy. Even if we look at SpaceX's Dragon, it is what is arguably a modern spacecraft, which has a good safety record, which is modern, clean, able to function, is versatile and so forth, and has been put up there by somebody like Elon, who has a vision, is driven, determined, and is not willing to sit around and wait for some congressman to tell him what to do. And that's what happened in the 60s. Nobody waited around. They didn't get red tape. They just went and did it, right, to make it to the moon. And sort of that's what Elon is doing. He's just kind of doing it. You know what I mean? And so what do you think about Elon? There you go.
Okay,
segue.
first of all, Elon did not start SpaceX. He bought the company. Just put that out there. He did accomplish something that, okay, let me just state that out there. I'm not a big fan of him. The guy's an idiot. The guy's a jerk, right? But he accomplished something in the space industry that no one hasn't really accomplished as a private sector, right? What he did makes a lot of sense in the future of space. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to take that away from him because it makes a lot of sense. It is there, right? But I always have an issue with privatizing space. I always have that issue. Right, space for humans to go in space with a flag outside the UN, in my opinion, you're towing a very, very, very dangerous line of privatizing space. Right, space, like water, it is for human to conquer, to get up there. Right, and for me, privatizing something like that, it's literally going to set humans back again. As soon as you privatize something, we're going to lose something in humanity. We're just going to lose it. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to save the rest in my review. But I do want to encourage the listeners to actually watch a movie called Hidden Figures. It's a movie. It's about the Apollo mission, about the people behind the scenes, about the men and the women had to go through adversities, racism, and looking from the outside in. It's like, this is the people who actually did the work. This is the engineers. This is the mathematicians, the people. Even the janitors were there working their ass off to bring men, women to space. Right, so I definitely highly recommend watching Hidden Figures. It's one of my favorite movies out there. It gives me goosebumps when I watched it, so it's very, very good. It's a great movie. So
it was, and let's talk about what we expect next, because they're on the moon now. We're ready to go in to find out what do you think is going to happen.
Ooh, I'm glad we're in this part now. Okay, so when we left off, they got to they stepped on the moon. Okay, I have issues with the way they got into when they leave and took the first step in the moon. It's the most cheesiest, most blue cheese experience I ever read in my entire life. It is so cringe-worthy that I was like, I dropped the book. I'm like, this is the most cringiest part of the book right now. Okay? I'm just going to say it out loud. I think you agree with me in that one too. But when they got to the moon, because they already said they're going to do some testing to make sure everything's working, I'm glad they're doing that instead of just going straight into straight into the crater. So that's cool. They have 2 or 3 days until the Chinese can arrive. So I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of conflicts between the crew. And the conversation regarding the weapons will show up again. I'm letting you right now. It's going to show up. And when the Chinese arrives, hopefully they arrive in the next part, there's going to be a lot of conversation regarding issues about their fuel. They need a ride home. And you get people on Earth trying to cover it up and trying to figure out who sabotaged it. But I have this feeling the people who sabotage it is the general. That's my opinion.
Oh, yeah. And I have another theory for you. It's out there, but it's interesting. What if whoever the general is trying to manipulate Rebecca, is trying to create a conflict on the moon to have justification for militarizing the moon or getting rid of the treaty entirely. That's sort of an interesting side theory I had.
I like
because
that.
I'm still not convinced this is an alien artifact. I'm not convinced of it. And it seems more likely that it might be something. I feel like there has to be a connection between Rebecca's work and the astronaut's work, and it has to come together here sooner rather than later. And first off, if the author doesn't do it, I'll be really upset. But if he does, I'll be curious. And I kind of want it to go in that direction now. I mean, it makes sense to me that the author is moving in that direction. He's building something with Rebecca. She's, doing all this stuff. He keeps on referring back to her all the time. Like every other chapter is Rebecca this, Rebecca that. There has to be some connection here that we're not seeing yet. And I'm hopeful that's the direction it's going to go. I said to you from the beginning, the very first episode, I don't necessarily want it to be aliens. I want it to be some other plot here. And I think my theory is going to be that's where we're going.
I'm sorry. I really want to ask you this question. I was hoping they're going to ask you this question in the next episode, but I'm going to ask you this question again. You mentioned that you're hoping it's not alien. I'm hoping it's alien, right? And the way you actually do your prediction makes a lot of sense. It could be an inside job or whatever. But for me, if your theory is correct, this is not a non-alien thing, I'm literally going to give the writer a big hand of applause for tricking me. That's all I'm saying.
I think so. Yeah. Join us next time as we review chapters 28 through 41 of The Shackleton Signal by Joshua Calvert. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share a review. We love to hear from you. Send us an email at yourbookmarksinfo@gmail.com. Join us again right here where you left off.